morning to all of you. I will briefly introduce this roundtable. My name is Rita Bencivenga. I work at the University of Genoa, and I am a member of the Ulysseus team at Unige. When we talk about diversity in ICT, it is not just about fairness or representation, but it's about quality, innovation, and the kind of future that we are building. Technology is not neutral. Every application, every algorithm, and every system is based on choices, on assumptions, on priorities, on perspectives. And if these perspectives are too narrow, the results can be distorted or even harmful. ICT is not just a sector. It is the foundation of our digital lives. It shapes the way we communicate, the way we learn, the way we access healthcare, justice, and education. It influences what is possible and for whom. That's why we need the most diverse minds in the room when technology is conceived, designed, and developed. We need people who see the world differently, who ask different questions, who come from different realities. Diversity, and with diversity I refer to gender, to culture, to background, to skills, is not a nice to have in the field. It is a source of strength. It leads to better problem solving, more creative solutions, and technology that work for more people. And in short, if we want to create an inclusive future, everyone must have a voice in shaping it. And that is precisely the reason why we are here today. This roundtable, Women in Tech Leading the Digital Transformation, is not just a conversation, but is a space for listening, for sharing and learning from each other. The goal is simple but important: to inspire, raise awareness, and make the path of women in ICT and STEM in general visible, because seeing these paths helps others to imagine their own. We will hear from 5 panelists, students, former students, and representatives from our Ulysseus partner universities, but also affiliated organizations who are studying or working in the field of ICT. Each brings a different story, a different background, and a unique perspective. Whether they have faced challenges, found unexpected opportunities, or simply follow their curiosity, their voices paint a real picture of what it means to grow in this field today. Our audience today includes not only students and educators, but also aspiring professionals, I do hope, people at different stages with different questions, all part of this shared ecosystem. This conversation is about also equality, diversity, and inclusion, core values of Ulysseus. It's about creating an environment where all talents can flourish and where innovation reflects the richness of our communities. So let's start by hearing from them, our panelists. Let's hear what brought them here, what drives them, and what they want for the future of technology. And later on, we will start a conversation through 4 different questions. So I give the floor to Jasna, if you want to start presenting yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sharing my screen now. I hope all of you can see my presentation now. Is it okay?
Yes, we can see it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So good morning, everyone. And Rita, thank you for this inspiring introduction you have just made. My name is Jasna, and I'm from Montenegro. And I'll tell you something more about my journey, which started when I was a child. So I was very young, and I was very curious, and I was always asking so many questions, and then my curiosity turned into my professional career here in Montenegro. So now I'm an engineer. My path wasn't straight, definitely, because at first I loved mathematics and physics. I took part in some competitions, some science camps, festivals, and other similar activities. And over time, I realized that if I want to do some research, I will have to present my results later to other people and to discuss about them. So I had to learn how to use some digital tools and to present my results in more effective way. Those were my first steps into ICT, small steps definitely, but later it turned out to be very useful in my future career I made. And 5 years ago, I completed my undergraduate degrees at the Faculty of Electrical Engineering at the University of Montenegro, and also at the Faculty of Applied Mathematics at the University of Donja Gorica. So that was a combination that was quite interesting to me because it was a really good basis for everything I'm doing right now. I started programming, I learned something more about databases, about software development, and many other things that are useful now. And that's about my beginnings. Maybe I currently work at Montenegrin electricity distribution system as an application software developer, and I'm focused on automating some repetitive tasks and some business processes. So I'm managing some internal apps, and I think that it's a role that's quite dynamic and really interesting to me because I have to understand both the technical side and some operational context, and that's the way I'm helping other people, other employees to do something in a much easier way. So what motivates me the most, maybe it's the idea that even small digital improvements can really change your life and change the way you work. So you can save time, you can improve your communication, and you can make some processes less complicated. So that's about my job. And after my morning shift, I do some other things. I have to highlight that I'm really into education. And one thing I'm really, really proud of is my role of coordinator of European Researchers' Night. It's a manifestation that is dedicated to science and technology. And as you can see in these pictures, it's an event that brings together a large number of researchers, and they're from different fields. So we all do some experiments and bring science to almost everyone. Something that's really important, I think, is the fact that significant numbers of those researchers are actually women. Those who are scientists, innovators, and they're an amazing role models for our younger generations. As you can see, some part of the event was dedicated to women in science, and they had an opportunity to talk about their research work and some things that are not talked enough in media, for example. And that's something I'm really proud of. So I think that we all have to make more opportunities for our children, especially for young girls, to do some interesting things, to make their first steps into ICT. As you can see, we had some courses about programming, and I think that Montenegro has a huge potential when it comes to women in science and ICT. And I'm really thankful for that I had the opportunity to share this with you.
Thank you. And we at Ulysseus are so happy to have the University of Montenegro as a new partner since last year. That has been really interesting to discover this new partner. So thank you. And then now I give the floor to Lenka. If you want to tell us something about yourself, your work, your activities. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you very much, Rita. And hello, everyone. I'm Lenka Hrinkova. I'm joining you from Slovakia. I'm the co-founder and currently Chief Innovation Officer of the nonprofit organization called Female Algorithm. Our organization is a Ulysseus partner, and I also represent the Technical University in Košice, Slovakia here today, as we sit on their premises. My background is in the tech industry, where I've spent nearly 2 decades navigating roles in software development projects and digital strategy. My path into technical field wasn't linear. I was always strong in math and physics, very similar to Jasna, but surprisingly, I chose economics when it came to university studies. I was just driven by the passion for entrepreneurship. And during university, I started my first business, selling sunglasses and shoes online, which actually earned me enough to buy my first car. So it was really motivating. Later, I joined an e-commerce startup, building an affiliate fashion portal, and we really worked hard on it for 2 years. But I learned a lot, especially on mistakes and failures we made before we decided to close it down. And that's when I shifted into working for international tech companies. After 7 years in Slovakia tech sector, I decided to relocate to London, where I worked for 2 software companies for 2 years and well-known clients as a senior digital project manager. This international working experience, I think, shaped me the most, made me really resilient, and it's something I recommend to anyone, even within the European exchange programs or just for a relocation. It really shapes people and make them resilient. When I came back home, I joined Wirecard. Who doesn't know the story of that German fintech company? Watched the documentary on Netflix. It didn't end up well, but it was actually a great company where I learned a lot also about software development. There was a joke or paradox when I was joining that company. There were 80 men and I was the 4th woman. But when I was told that during the interview process, I thought that they are just joking. But no, that was true. And within 3.5 or 4 years I worked there, I was always the only woman in a management position there. So I know how it feels to be the only woman at the table or in the room. And that maybe motivated me to publish a book, Female Algorithm, which became a voice for women navigating careers in technology. So as a woman in tech, I'm not supposed to talk negative today, but I have to share that I faced a lot of discrimination, sexism, and even harassment. I often been the only woman, as I said, and that made me it questioned my skills, and I had to prove it twice. This was true for me, that in the darkest period of my life, I found my deepest purpose, and I became the person I once needed the most. So that mission has driven everything I do ever since. And that mission is to unlock the potential of women and girls in technology and management, which is the foundation of the organization. And today, Female Algorithm empowers women and girls in Slovakia, especially, including marginalized women, refugees, especially during the Ukrainian conflict, which is right behind the border. We are close to the border of Ukraine. Single mothers, women from rural areas, and survivors of violence through education, digital upskilling, and safe learning space. We've delivered over 60 local and international projects and directly supported more than 16,000 women and girls. And one thing I'm especially proud of, that last year I stepped down from my CEO role and passed it to my amazing co-founder, Susanna. And it was a powerful moment for me, not just for me personally, but that symbolized women supporting women in leadership transitions. And since then, I've been building a spin-off business focused on specialized edtech or technical education of adults, helping especially women to switch their careers into tech sector. And I have to say that it's taking off. So wish me luck, wish us luck, because it's also thanks to the great team. And I never stop learning. I think that's the hashtag for being in technology. Never stop learning. I constantly keep my finger on a pulse of technology and continue to educate myself, not only in organizational leadership, but also the technologies, how they evolve, how we can use them, what can we automate, and what the latest trends and innovations are, because it truly fascinates me and inspires me.
Lenka, thank you so much. That was very interesting, and I look forward to listening to your answers later on because you bring really a very strong experience in the field. So now we move to Janina. Thank you, Janina.
Yes, thank you very much, Rita. Hi all, nice to see you. And my name is Janina Brunfeld. I'm final year information technology student from Haga University of Applied Sciences in Helsinki, Finland. Originally, I'm from Hyvinkää. It's a smaller city not too far from Helsinki. But anyways, alongside my studies, I've been really actively involved in various student organizations in national and in local level. And I've done like some advocacy work for several years, especially on focusing like equality and education and internationalization. And my path basically into tech has been shaped both by my curiosity and the kind of desire to solve real life problems. I've been really always like interested about understanding how digital tools and systems work, and maybe more importantly, how they can be used to help people out. During my studies in business information technology, I've specialized in ICT infrastructure and digital services. And basically, like, what I've really come to love is how tech and people intersect, like, for example, through the user experience, accessibility, and the smart service design. So along the way, I realized that my passion for advocacy and leadership could align with the tech, especially in creating fairer digital environments, promoting international collaboration, and driving like inclusive development. So that kind of mix of technical skills and social impact is what keeps me motivated here. And yeah, my journey started. I was really interested as a child, like how IT works and what are computers. And I have had the privilege of having like really like close relatives who worked in IT. So I have had the like glimpse of IT like world and the work like really when I was a little kid already, and that's why it interests me to come and study this. But of course, like my journey bit changed during the years because I found the like importance of advocacy work and student advocacy, and but then I realized that I can really like merge these things together really well. And so I have had the opportunity to work on several projects and hold like leadership roles that I'm really proud of, especially when I've seen the impact that they hold on others. But one like key insight I've gained through my experience in student organization is just how essential technology is for effective advocacy. Like whether it's coordinating campaigns, communicating with members, or analyzing data or feedback, nothing basically works without reliable system and digital tools. So my IT studies have given me a strong foundation, but I think my hands-on experience through volunteer roles has taken that to a next level, basically. So I've worked with updating websites, used various different kind of project management tools and analyzing the data to support the decision making. So it's also made me realize that being technically skilled isn't just a skill, it's a way to empower others and create meaningful change. And lastly, like I think it also has taught me the power of collaboration, like whether in tech or in leadership, the best outcomes come when people feel heard and empowered. But yeah, that's maybe like in short about me. Thank you very much.
No, thank you, Janina. Very interesting and very inspiring. Thanks a lot. So we move to Noelia.
Hi, thank you, Rita. Well, I'm Noelia. I'm from Andalusia in the south of Spain, and I have a degree in software engineering from the University of Seville, Universidad de Sevilla, where I'm also now studying. I'm doing my master's in software engineering, cloud computing, data, and IT management. And about my journey into tech, I have to say that it also started pretty early. I would say that since I was a child, I was always curious and interested in technology, math, and I was always trying to understand how everything worked. And even if I didn't grow up surrounded by the latest technology, since I was living in a rural area without really easy access to it, I was still drawn to it. And I was surprisingly comfortable with anything digital, even when I have to figure how they work by myself. And that curiosity always pushed me to the ICT world. And that's where I met two incredible teachers who introduced me to the world of programming, technology. And I have to say that they were really passionate about it. And it was sort of contagious because I started looking up things, new topics on my own to talk to them and trying to explain them to them. And they really became true models for me and really inspired me to follow my curiosity. And eventually that led me to a degree in computer engineering. But when I finished my degree, I started thinking about the rise of AI and the current tech boom. And like Lenka said, there's a lot that we need to learn. And that's why I decided to continue my education with the master's in software engineering. And here, right now, I'm exploring new trends, opportunities across cloud computing, AI, and overall software development practices. Right now, I'm working as a research assistant at the Diverso Lab in my university, and I'm studying and specializing in software product lines, which is a methodology that focuses on creating flexible and reusable software systems that can be adapted into any need or environment that we may find. And one project that I'm really proud of that also is aligned with the software product lines involves working with a company that is local to Seville and in the marketing automation area. And in this project, we help them to implement new software product lines, techniques, and integrate AI tools like large language models that are really on trend right now to support their marketing processes. And the result was well, a really flexible system that could help them in their customized campaigns and even automating the SWOT analysis of their products and services. For me, it was really exciting to see the results of the work and how these techniques could bring a real value to everyone in the business and help them make decisions or even know more about the information that they already have. And overall, to summarize it a little bit, I think the ICT world really welcomes everyone. And if you're curious, passionate, and ready to learn, there's a place for you here.
Thank you, Noelia. Very, very interesting. We move to the last panelist for this first round, of course. So, Belen, tell us something about yourself and your study path and interest and project that is inspiring you. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. So I'm from Mexico. I am studying currently the master's degree in smart tech. That is a master in technology education, educational technology. Sorry. So this is my second master. I already have a master's degree in design, information, and communication. My background is in communication science, but I'm specialized in media production. So it is quite of interesting how these things converge into something really new and really awesome. That is how to communicate and how to make the communication of the science. And it's really interesting how we can shape or we can transform the future and the culture about how what is the role that women are having in these science positions, right? Like my peers here say already, there's a lot of still, I don't know how to say it, the discrimination, and there's still lack of opportunities for women into big roles for enterprises, for organizations, for educational fields, and this is something that we have to change in order to get some more opportunities for all of us. And in Mexico, I am a full-time assistant professor, and my students are mostly women, and they are coming from different backgrounds. Mostly those backgrounds are really really bad ones because they are like the first generation in their families to be in the university. So it's kind of different how we can approach them and how we can help them to get to do something more, right? So we are creating educational resources based on virtual reality, augmented reality, interactive media, and also audiovisual production. And this is something really new for them because, like Noelia said before, there are people that come from rural environments and they come from the big city and they are like amazed how technology can do something really, really awesome. And I think this is kind of my mission to help them to improve that knowledge and that ability to do something even more important more. So I think I'm teaching with example by doing something else in my education. So that's why I'm enrolled in Côte d'Azur. Sorry, I don't know if I say that before. I'm enrolled in Côte d'Azur, and I have been in Nice, and it's really awesome how different is the cultural environment from Europe to America to Mexico, and I think it's something that we can work together to make improvements and exchange and open the mind of different people that are used to something that is not quite right. I don't know how to say. I don't want to speak really bad from my country, but we have a little lack and a little gap of educational, I don't want to say something else because it is difficult. It is different, and it's sad to see how women are treated here in Mexico. And I know that there are some backgrounds in Europe that are not that similar. I mean, I think countries like Finland have more equal opportunities for women, but here in Mexico is really different, and it's really sad because I know girls that have a lot of potential, and they are fighting against the opportunities, into educational and enterprise field. So, yeah, that's my sad reality.
Thank you. Very interesting. And I'm glad that you all of you somehow started introducing the topics that we will be discussing now, because all of you in different ways anticipated those topics. So I will start with the first set of considerations, of thoughts. We will not be going the same order. I think maybe not all of you want to say something about each question. So you will raise your virtual hand and we will go in a more informal way. Okay, so the first set of topics that we thought about is related both with personal motivation and with background. So we know that ICT is a male-dominated field. So we know the numbers in Europe and everywhere in the world. So this is something that is still very striking. Even compared to other STEM disciplines, ICT is really still a male-dominated field. So did you move past that? And if yes, how? What were the strategies? What are the strategies that you adopt? And also, do you think that your background could be cultural, social, personal, the family, whatever, played a role in your experience? So I see that Jasna already raised her hand. You want to share with us something about this topic?
To be honest, at the beginning, I did have some doubts, because when you are entering the field like ICT and you're a woman, it's not hard to notice that you're often one of the few. So in classrooms, the events, or even in meetings, not meetings like this one, but some others, you are mostly surrounded by men. So those are the situations when you can ask yourself, do you really belong there? And that happened to me sometimes. But there were some things that helped me to move past all that, all those problems, because first I had some not some, but strong support from my friends, colleagues, from my mentors, from my family, of course, who saw my potential and encouraged me a lot. And second, of course, my own decision not to let stereotypes and anything else like that define what I can or cannot do. To be clear, Montenegro is a traditional country where you're constantly surrounded by some people who expect you to stay in some certain safe profession, even to be satisfied with some monotonous job, because you have to balance between your professional career, professional life, and your personal life, your family, your kids. And that's a bad situation, but luckily I've been surrounded by some women in my family who were into education, into science, ICT, some public services and similar things. And they really gave me some kind of confidence that I can do some similar things and follow some different path like them.
Thank you, Jasna. Any other comment from the other panelists? Strategies or ideas? Lenka, please. Thank you. You are muted.
Thank you. Obviously, my point of view is slightly different because I'm from maybe a little different part of the world. Slovakia as a part of Eastern Europe, or we call it Middle Europe, as you know, was long under socialism, and the gender roles were pretty rigid. And it's not that fresh that we have the freedom and democracy. It's since 1989. So I was 6 when the Iron Curtain fell down. So it's not that fresh, and we had to, as a country, accommodate to the international working market and the globalization and everything. And I think we are still adapting, and the gender roles here are pretty strict still, which was a little bit changed also by the tech companies that came in, and I'm thankful for that, because those tech companies usually brought from Western countries a lot of diversity and inclusion rules or ethics or code of conducts that are changing the environment. So although nobody in Slovakia is taught at school what the diversity inclusion is, they usually learn at work thanks to these employers. And what I wanted to say that I know surrounded by men might be scary for some. I have two brothers, so it wasn't that new to me. And I know that at the beginning I mentioned some discrimination, sexism, and negative stuff. But I have to say, I really enjoyed working with men in general, and they were usually very, very helpful. And I learned a lot from them. And they shaped me as well, because, for example, I learned from them to talk briefly, to talk to the point, to write structured emails, to get rid of ballast when I'm talking, to be sharper. And I hope that I taught them something too, for example, that empathy is not a weakness and that it's really good to be empathetic in the workplace. So I have to say that I also, as the only woman in management, got some men's habits. For example, I was interrupted very often. So I learned to interrupt other people. And now I'm unlearning those bad habits and trying to be more feminine in leadership position, because I think maybe 10 years ago, I tried to fit in by being more masculine in my behavior. And just now, in my early 40s, I'm realizing that I have to get back to my feminine part, because that's also strength, and that silent voice or calm behavior doesn't mean weakness. So it's just redefining the leadership style.
Yeah, thank you for introducing this comment about how time changes our attitudes. It's true that 30 years ago or 20 years ago, also this debate about women in tech was very different. And I remember in particular, I've been assessing proposals for the European Union since 1989. And for several years, there was this debate, women write research proposals in a different way than men. And that has been for years a huge debate. And now nobody speaks about that anymore for several reasons, of course. But we see how also the debate is changing attitudes and I think that the young generations, I do hope that the young generations will really help in changes this thinking where women are softer, nicer, more interested in accommodate all the point of views, and men behave in a different way. So this essentialism, this has been so pervasive in our societies. I see this changing slowly, but this is changing, and we start understanding and we start considering that really diversity is important, not necessarily we must move from one way of doing ICT to two ways of doing ICT. We must move to diversity, to different ways of doing ICT and interacting with society, with the final users of any technology. Any other comments about these ideas, strategies, or ways of moving forward? Okay, yes, Noelia, thank you.
Well, I thinking about the dominant field thought. I think that's always a thought that in my surroundings, everyone has said to me, given a point, like when I talked about what I want to do or what I wanted to do, and or even what I'm doing right now, everyone's like, don't you think that this is a male dominant field, or isn't that kind of intimidating for you? And even my family had that thought in the beginning, because they were not they didn't have the knowledge about how this work But yes, sometimes, like Lenka said, you can find like yourself surrounded by men, and I have learned that the best way to deal with it is to move past it and do not let it define the experience that you are living right now. Like focusing on what you're really enjoying and not in the thought that, well, I'm surrounded by men, yes, but let's focus on what really makes you happy and special, no? And of course, I think that representation of background really makes a difference in this thought, because I was lucky enough to meet like two female teachers in early in my life who really inspired me, but also in my own school we have a lot of women in leadership roles, and I think that that really showed me that there's space for me and in this field, and I don't need to be like thinking that I'm left out or that I don't belong in this place. So yeah.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay. We can move to the second set of questions that is more related to experience and inclusion. And regarding this imbalance between men and women in ICT, I noticed that many of you spoke about experiences within NGOs or working groups or organizing science festivals with a variety of people. So including, of course, women can be very different because they, for different reasons, they may have experienced a different path to arrive to technology, or even to be interested if they participated to a science festival or so on. So we know that people in general, so also women, of course, from underrepresented backgrounds, may face additional challenges. So I think that at least some of you, you had the opportunity to reflect about that. Maybe you do not come from, as a woman, from an underrepresented background because of your family, because of your personal story, but you have seen many women arriving from underrepresented background in this context, and maybe you want to share some ideas, some aspects that you noticed, but also some ways of overcoming in a positive way this extra challenge that some groups face. Yeah. Oh, Belen. Okay. We will go in order. I see you keep your hands raised and then we will follow. So Belen, thank you.
Yeah, so I'm a teacher, so I find out that some activities are better made by women, and some activities are better made by men, and it's not a sexist difference. It's about how the detail can be done by women in different contexts, because women tend to be more expressive, more sensitive, more detailed. I don't want. I don't know how to say it. They're very focused on details, and most of my students, most of the students I teach, come from different backgrounds. That it's they are not related to technology more often, so they have to learn the activities, they have to learn the software, they have to learn everything, and it's easier to teach them because they are open to do something else. And men tend to be more like closed-minded, that it's like, no, it's this way because I am teach this way, and everything comes from at least in Mexico, it comes from the role that men have in society. So it's really kind of different how they are acting for the at least at that educational field. This is the kind of stuff like that, because yeah, men tend to be more like impositive, and women are more flexible to learn something else, something new. And it happened to me also in the communication field, because I used to do media production, and men tend to be like mansplaining all the time, like has to be like this and blah blah blah. So it's really different to do something else between men and women, how they learn.
Yeah, thank you, Belen. I think it's particularly interesting when you speak about the advantage sometimes of coming from an underrepresented background. You start from scratch, you start from zero, so you may be open to and eager to see things in a different way, in an innovative way. That is really very interesting. Thank you. Jasna, you raised your hand too. Thank you.
Yes. Personally, I haven't experienced any unpleasant situation, because when I was a child, I guess I was not aware of some negative things around me, such as biases and stereotypes and so on. I was really focused on learning, on education, on improving my skills, and learning was some kind of game for me always. So, but yes, I witnessed some bad things, definitely. For example, when it comes to applying for some leadership positions in some particular companies, it's harder for women to get recognized or promoted. Luckily, it's not a rule. It's not the case everywhere. So the truth is, women are already leading in tech, I think, in coding, in designing, in managing projects and driving some innovation. There are still challenges, definitely, that we have to overcome, but I think we are on a good way. In Montenegro, it's you can see that, for example, girls from northern region of Montenegro are definitely less likely to pursue higher education, especially in science and engineering. For example, many of them come from some villages where the schools are smaller, there is a lack of teaching staff and many other problems. And those girls are maybe more focused on starting a family in an early age than going into the world of science or technology. So there is some kind of disbalance between men and women in some fields here, but I think that there are also more opportunities to get in that world.
Thank you. Lenka, you raised your hand before. I don't know if you still want to give your
Yes,
answer.
thank you, Rita.
Thank you.
I might add some points from our perspective. In Slovakia, we have a representation of women in ICT on a level of 15%, which hasn't changed a lot in the past 10 years, and it is under the European average. The best countries in Europe, as you know, Romania and Bulgaria, achieved 30% of women in tech. How to achieve it in our country when the graduates of technical faculties in our country, only 10% of them are women. So the market is already like underrepresented when it comes to women, because there are not enough graduates, and the way how we can increase the number of women in tech is by women switching their careers throughout their life. Maybe I would also comment on what Belen said regarding organizing activities by men, women, or who is the audience. And our good practice, we found out, is that when we organize, for example, technical camps or workshops for girls that are totally technical beginners, it really helps if there are girls-only groups, because they sometimes complain that during the informatics classes they are interrupted or laughed at by their boys classmates because they don't know something. So we are trying to create that safe space until they gain that technological or technical confidence. And once they gain it, we then try not to separate them from boys, because the reality is that at the beginning there will be a lot of boys and men around them. So not just to try to isolate and to educate them in silos, because it doesn't really make sense. And regarding the underrepresented groups, we also have the problem with socially disadvantaged kids that don't have access to internet or computer at home, or we have a large minority of Romani people in Slovakia. And I see that their opportunities on the market in future will be really limited, because in their early age they can't learn working with computer and technology. So we know that, and we try to work with that. So that was the answer to the disadvantaged groups here.
I wish to add that professionally, I have no experience with young children. I always worked in a context related to adult education. But I of course, I needed to remain updated in general about, and I think that Professor Louise Archer is the scientist that at the moment is giving the most interesting and updated vision about what's going on with young people in relation to ICT. So I always recommend, when I speak about these topics, to read her articles and to see the results of the EU-funded project that she has been coordinating. Louise Archer, to me, is really a groundbreaking perspective in the field. So, Janina, you want to add something?
Yes, thank you very much. Basically, like personally, I first want to say that I haven't had like that much of bad experiences, or I haven't had the bad experiences about the imbalance between men and women and ICT. But of course, like I have witnessed that kind of situations with my friends and people I know of, and I think it's really important that we acknowledge that it happens and we are like aware, even if like I personally haven't witnessed it, and I haven't felt it myself. And of course, I think it's based also on my background, because I have 4 brothers, so I have always learned to meddle between like how men's work, and I have had the experience within my family like how to act myself. But I still feel like I have definitely seen the gender imbalance, and while I often felt comfortable, I've also noticed that you sometimes have to still prove yourself more as a woman. So, and maybe especially, for example, in lectures or meetings where I've been the only woman, or if there is one on another or only few of us, it can make you second guess yourself and make you wonder if you're being taken seriously, or if you need to prove yourself a little bit more. So, but yeah, overall, I also think that in Finland, of course, there is still a lot of work to do with the imbalance between women and men in ICT, but I feel that we have been getting better at it, and for my experience and my example, maybe from my own studies, when I started studying in Haaga-Helia, in my class there were 3 other girls and me also, but in the 20 or 30 group, so the percentage of women wasn't that much. But luckily I have noticed that it has risen when I've seen new students come in. It's almost half and half, which is really good, and I think it makes it feel really comfortable for the other women. And I think when I started, I doubted myself a lot, okay, am I going to be treated differently because I'm a woman, because I know that there isn't that many women except me and maybe a few others. But I felt like that Finland has improved at least a bit, and this is, of course, this is just one experiences. I'm not quite sure about the data in other University of Applied Sciences or universities, what it is, but I have of course, like I have heard and I have talked to a lot of different like university students around Finland, and I have like noticed it has risen, but of course, like I think the main point is that even though it rises, we still need to focus and we need to still keep in mind that there is problematics inside it, and we need to be aware and we need to actively like make the environment better. And I think like the main point how we make the environment better for women and of course other like minority groups is that they actually feel comfortable to come into these fields and they feel like they are being heard and they can like affect this field. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So if you have no more observation on this, I will move to the third topic that is more about representation and perspective. So the question is, we hope to have more women in tech and also more people coming from underrepresented group, and not only, there are also men who have difficulties in accessing to the ICT. But let's say we are here today to speak more about women. So what new perspectives you think more women in ICT will bring in how technology is designed? Because some of you already mentioned, and I mentioned also in my introduction, this co-construction of technology and people, technology influence people, people influence technology, and so on. But we know that until now, these people was represented mainly by men and still is represented mainly by men. So what new ideas or what new perspectives, what changes do you think, do you foresee will arrive in the technology that we use in our daily lives once this technology will be designed by groups that are more diverse than today? We know that there have been unfortunate cases of big companies who had to withdraw new technology from the market in a few days because they were designed in a way that was not useful or accessible to some groups. So do you have any something to share about this co-shaping, and what do you bring that is different to technology in your personal experience, or what do you see other women are bringing to technology that is not still that is not yet there? I saw that Janina was nodding, or maybe Jasna, you want to say something, and then maybe we move to Janina.
Okay. So I think that having more women in tech, including those from diverse cultural and professional backgrounds, brings definitely new perspectives to the design and to the implementation of technology in general. Because different viewpoints are very important in innovative work. They lead to more inclusive solutions. For example, I work very closely with some engineers who often have limited access to digital tools, and I have to address this, and I develop software solutions that enable engineers to focus more on their core tasks than to administrative work. So I think women bring something definitely unique to the table. We have creativity, empathy, problem-solving skills, and I think these are really valuable skills in the tech world, and the tech world needs more of that. When it comes to including women and individuals from underrepresented backgrounds in the tech industry, I think that the technologies we develop serve the needs of all members of society, and that's a very important thing. And according to my experience, when I organize some science camps for children, I see that those children come from various backgrounds and they work together on developing some innovative ideas. So these kind of programs can emphasize collaboration, creativity, and the importance of different perspectives they had in problem solving. So I think that we are always involving a wide range of researchers, including women, definitely, and we want to be able to present science and technology in a way that resonated with a broader audience. So that's a really important thing in every kind of activity.
Thank you. Jan?
Yes, thank you very much. I have to agree with 100% with Jasna, everything you said. Like I had basically the same kind of points coming up, and yeah, because I really think that the representation matters because tech shapes our world. We know that, and if only like one type of person builds it, it won't serve everyone equally. So the diverse perspectives help ask better questions and identify the problems others might overlook. Like when we expand who's in the room, we expand what's possible, and we get the different points of views from different persons. So having basically more women, and especially women from diverse cultures and backgrounds in tech, it's not just about fairness, it's about better design also. I think that, and technology reflects the people who build it. Like when only a narrow group is represented in that process, we risk like creating a system that maybe like unintentionally excludes others. So yeah, that was my point in this.
Thank you. Noelia?
Yep. I think that a great example of this need is the design of vehicles, because in the testing it was proved that like female drivers were more likely to be severely injured when having an accident, and that's why I think that not only women but anyone from different cultures, communities, backgrounds in general, are essentials if we want to build technology and even shape the future on the world. We need to be considered, and we need to make something that truly is beneficial for everyone, and not only the main parts of the world or anyone who designed this technology. Like if we have more diverse groups of people involved, we bring new ways of thinking, priorities, life experiences, and I think that really that can improve how we resolve the problems in our world.
Thank you. I would like to add, you spoke about these safety belts that were not suitable for women. And I noticed that now things are different, of course. Volvo in particular was one of the companies who started changing this attitude. And those times I noticed that, for example, for women who are pregnant or for people who are particularly overweight, then the recommendation was you are exonerated from using the safety belt. So they were putting people in need to a higher risk, not to have the burden to study alternative ways of organizing the safety belt. And the quickest solution was, okay, no need for you to, you will not be fined if you don't use it. So this is really a strange way of approaching technology. In the meanwhile, there was, yes, the book from Caroline Criado Perez, Invisible Women. I suppose that all of you know it. And this is very interesting also for the general public, because Caroline Criado Perez give examples of objects that are in our daily lives and how they have been built in a way not to be friendly, let's say, to female bodies. So that is really an interesting book, and I would recommend also to subscribe to the newsletter. Caroline Criado Perez as a periodic newsletter, and that is for free. And so she keeps on posting periodically new disasters she discovers in the medical field, but also in any other field. And also, Belen, you suggested this short film Pearl from Pixar's Sparks. Would you like to tell us something about that? We will look for it. I hope it's free access for everybody to.
Yeah, it's in
Yeah.
YouTube.
Okay.
It's actually, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, I am actually all the subjects I related to film, to series, to.
No,
because
that's
it's my
interesting.
field.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, so this film is really interesting because it's a short film, and it's about what we were talking before about how we can build some environment safe for women, and we don't have to compete with men, and we don't have to be the same that or the same. We don't have to have the same attitudes that them. And it's really interesting because at the end, well, I don't want to spoil anything, but at the end, she understands how to create some good environment for everyone. So it's really awesome.
Good, good. I hope in the future we'll have an occasion to organize some other event focusing on movies, and that would be really, really interesting. We will think about that, definitely. So the final open reflection and final thoughts, as usual in any roundtable or interviews. Now I'm asking, is there anything you feel is important to say or to share after this debate? You listen to other people speaking, and so any thoughts about ICT or being a woman, diversity, your personal journey, whatever you want to say that was not planned at the beginning, will be interesting to share. Lenka?
Maybe I would like to emphasize the importance, because I get a lot of comments like, why don't you motivate people to become dentists? Why ICT? And I think people need to realize, those who don't know, that it is really moving the world. It's really visible in the US, how technical businessman runs the world, or try to run the world. And it's a room full of men again. And I think there is a great quote that half of the world are women, and women should be equally represented everywhere where the decisions are made with the impact to the whole society. And that technology field definitely is, and it will be even more in future. That's why we should grab our seats there. Otherwise, we will be not part of these decisions that are impacting us as well. So that's, I think, the thing I would like to emphasize. That's the why behind that.
Thank you, Lenka. That's really important what you said. Janina, you want also to add something?
Yes, I want to have share maybe final thought about this whole topic, and maybe encourage some people here who are listening to this. So I want to say that you don't have to be the loudest person in the room to belong in tech. You belong there. You don't have to be men. You can be who you are. If you're women, if you're in minority group, wherever, you belong there. And just be yourself and keep learning and lift others up also as you go, especially we minor groups in this IT field. So diversity it's not a buzzwords. It's a foundation for innovation, and inclusion is the only way to forward if we want to build technologies that truly work for everyone. Yeah.
Thank you, Janina. Any other comment from the other participants? Yes, Jasna, please.
I would like to say that people often think that digital skills are just something that is necessary for those who are programming. It's not the case. I think that digital skills are now important in almost every profession. So in healthcare, in education, in marketing, tourism, public administration, and even more. So there are some new fields in tech that are emerging and creating fresh career opportunities for all those who are on their, I don't know, in their starting phase. And there are some fastest growing areas here, like artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, data analysis, and UX design, and so on. So I think that the tech world needs different perspectives, and it needs more women, more creativity, more collaboration, of course. And when teams are diverse, the solutions are, of course, better. So I would like to just to encourage other people to get in and to come to our tech world.
Thank you, Jasna. Noella?
Yeah. Following the comment that Jasna just made, I think that we're not just like about breaking barriers. No, we're not here to just fit in or something like that. We are here to contribute, to lead, and to shape the future in all kinds of ways. Just a little comment. I think that diversity is not something nice to have, like something, oh, so cool, but is actually a need that we need to have. And with a world more inclusive, we become more powerful, ethical, and innovative in general. So I'm really proud that we are here talking about it. I'm proud to be part of that change.
Thank you, Noelia. Now that we have a few minutes for questions, so please, if you have questions, you can write them in the chat. And we already, yes, Belen, well, we must discuss about movies, you and I, someday, because I see you are really in the topic. You are right. She wrote, if you feel like you don't belong, always remember Hedy Lamarr, who is the great actress, but also the great scientist. Yes, her biography is really, really, really inspiring. So I have a question for you from the public. How do you think working in challenging male-dominated environments has made you better, if it has made you better, but I'm sure. Belen.
Well, I have to say that the first man I have to face against like a competition is my father. So I belong to a family that we are four sisters. He doesn't have, at least we don't know, he doesn't have sons. So it is really a competition because he always tried to do like the best of himself. And I always try to do the best of himself. So it's really awesome because he taught me how to use software for the first time, and he let me like do some software installation because he used to do this maintenance for PCs. So he let me do the software part, and I think I learned from him how to be independent and how to learn for myself to screw over and do it again, because it is a different kind of learning how to improve yourself every time you are competing with something else, and it's really fun because it is my father, so he doesn't want me to fail. He always wants me to do better, and this is something I'm grateful to. And it's also very stressing because he's always like, no, 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 you have to do this, and I'm like, okay. So it is really good to be. I mean, I used to be around men doing that kind of thing because he used to he do it all the time with me. So it is fun for me to let him do his mess, or let them do the mess, and then I go and do it over. So it's improving every time, all the time. I have to be ready. I have to be smarter. I have to be well prepared. I have to be even better every time. So it gets me to not be comfortable with myself, like with my work, and I have to improve it all the time. So uh, I'm something grateful with him for that.
Thank you. Jasna, you were the second in line.
First of all, I have to highlight that I lived in a huge family. I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters, so it was quite interesting to be interested in science, and I was the only child who was interested in science and technology. So it was difficult, but I think that I improved my communication skills, that I that I was always fighting for myself, and I was really stubborn child who loved learning and didn't let the others in my house to affect my choices. So definitely I became more independent, and sometimes there is some kind of pressure because you have to prove yourself, and it's maybe for some other people, maybe it's making you nervous, but for me it was a good thing because I think that it just can push you and make you even more dedicated to the thing you love. So I think that that feeling when you are the only one, it can make you maybe even more conscious of inclusion, and that's the reason why I'm doing some things right now. Why I'm organizing some events for children. Why I'm trying to involve more girls in some ICT disciplines.
Thank you. Noelia?
Yeah, about working in male-dominated environments, I think that not only pushes you to grow technically, but also in personally. Like I've learned to speak up, just like everyone has already said, to trust our voices and to stand up by your ideas. Like if you're the only one that sees a problem or a solution in a certain way, it also pushes you to not be scared and to speak up about those things. But also in inclusion on groups or projects or everything, it makes you think more open, like about being inclusive, because you've already felt or have experienced like being the outsider or something like that. So it pushes that empathy to feel like a new person coming to a new group project, etc. So yeah.
Thank you. And Janina?
Yeah, I really agree with all what has already been said, because I also think that I think like working in this male dominant field has pushed me to become more confident and like in my voice, and also to be like more intentional how I show up and how I say things. And I've learned to speak up even when it's uncomfortable sometimes, and to trust also that I bring the value in the conversation, and my ideas bring value and they are valuable. And it has also kind of way taught me like how to read a room and adapt my communication style and support others who might feel like outsiders too. So definitely like about the inclusion. So in a way, it has strengthened both my technical and interpersonal skills, like because succeeding in tech, it's not just about coding or the fancy IT systems we have and what we work on, but it's also about the collaboration, empathy, and resilience, and like making sure that everyone feels like part of the group. So yeah.
Thank you. Lenka, you wanted to add something too?
Yes, I agree with everything that has been already said, but as we have some bookworms here, I'm one of them as well, and there is a great book on the market called Hidden Potential from Adam Grant. It says that people who face discrimination or are disadvantaged or are from minorities have actually a great potential because they had to become strong and resilient through overcoming many obstacles and barriers. So let's take obstacles as steps towards success. And the author says also that our success is not measured by how high we get, but how long journey we had to go through. So we should maybe remember that for our next future as well.
Thank you. There is another question. Have you ever had problems in your work environment being women? Has your career been affected by this somehow? Belen, I think you want to share something?
Yeah, sorry, I have to say this. So recently, I have a little problem with my coworkers because um, we work in the same field. I mean, we work in educational technology, but somehow they only do research, and I am doing some practices. So my students are making something, and their students are just, like theorizing and have a research field. That it's not bad. I mean, it's really good because they are understanding what are they doing and how to improve something else. But mine are doing practical things. So that's kind of jealousy, like, oh, I could do that, but I don't want to do that because I am doing something else. And that kind of jealousy is really tired because I have to prove myself that I can do research. And it's really not good because you feel like when they're judging you, this is like you're just playing around and do things and not researching, and it's really frustrating. Um, but in general, I don't feel like I have to respond to them. My compromise and my mission is with my students, so I'm teaching them to learn something else and to do something else because when they when they graduate, they have to find jobs, and real jobs are not all they don't pay you to do research unless you're doing a master's degree. And I am teaching them the practical things, so that's kind of jealousy being around. It's part of the job.
Well, thank you so much for being so generous also in asking to these new questions. I don't see any more questions at the moment in the chat. So we move to the last part. I was asked to conclude saying, giving some advice for girls considering an ICT career, and I prepared a short list based on my experience, but I'm happy to see that it is really very similar to at least some of the things that you were mentioning before. So we are going in the same direction, I would say. So so to those people who will see this roundtable in the future, because this is recorded and will be left online, who may consider a future in ICT, or maybe they have a daughter that is speaking about that, or a student. I think that firstly, if you are curious, if you like solving problems and building things or understanding how systems work, then ICT may be your field, even if no one told you that. So don't be shy in this sense. These are hints that you may belong to that. Also, research has shown that girls who see role models they can identify with are more likely to find themselves in this field. And so other young women studying or working in the technology industry, like you all are, of course, are very important. That's why you are important. That's why we organize these roundtables and we leave them online for the future, because representation is important. At the same time, the research shows that it's not just about self-confidence. That is important, but it's not enough. It's also about belonging. So I think that girls and women, but also people from underrepresented groups, may feel comfortable in ICT when they feel like they belong, not when they have to prove that they deserve to be there. We already belong to ICT. So if you are considering this path, I think know that you don't have to be perfect. You don't need to know everything before you start. What you need is room to grow, to learn, to be seen for what you bring to the table. And today we heard a lot of examples of what we as women, you as a girl, may bring to the table. And that's something that you bring, your way of thinking, your experience, your voice is needed. Is needed, not an alibi, not because the EU is telling us that we need more women. That is true, of course, we need women, but because even more important, technology is shaping our future, and it should reflect us all. We don't have time to speak about artificial intelligence. We know what's going on. I've seen this arriving since the late 70s when people started speaking about that, but now it's here and has arrived at an incredible speed. So we really need to have a technology that reflects us. So be curious. Keep an open mind, find the lies. Here we have 5 wonderful examples of potential allies, but I must say that in my experience interviewing dozens of experts in ICTs in Europe, I heard also many women professionals in the ICT sector saying that the male allies have been very important in their professional life. So this also is something I invite you to look for. There are male allies, thanks to them in the field. So, and remember that maybe the door will not open easily, but it doesn't mean that it's the wrong door. And sometimes you just need more people to knock. And I do hope that today's meeting somehow will help in increasing this number of young women knocking at the door of ICT. Thank you all for your participation. I hope for us, we belong to the big family of Ulysseus. I hope to meet you somewhere in person in some future meeting. Thanks also to Elena Romero for organizing this event. Without you, we would not have succeeded in doing that. And thanks to all the participants.
Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you to everyone.